Hi, I'm Jesse McConnell, CEO of Rubicon Organics. Starting out here, I'm going to talk about today is how do you build a premium certified organic cannabis company. For us, we're really focused on the foundation of production. And while we see the industry developing into a number of CPG products, at the end of the day, you still have to begin with a truly premium foundation of production that you can do high quality production at low cost. So this isn't stock footage. This is a photo of our greenhouse in Delta, British Columbia. We've got the Rocky Mountains in the background, beautiful place to produce, very nice climate. We're excited to get moving. So 5 major highlights for us. This is a capital markets conference, so we'll focus on the investment details. We're a certified organic company. We wrote the certified organic standard for cannabis in Canada. I'm the founder of Whistler, the first ever legal certified organic cannabis producer in the world. There will be only 3 of us publicly traded. We are near-term, low-cost production. All of our facilities are built. They're ready to produce. We took a little different approach than some companies. We did our financing in advance. We built our facilities. We aren't going out there to raise money in order to start building them. These are, upon reception of our license, Q4 2018, we'll be in production right away. And we're in the largest marketplaces. We focused on Canada, of course, as the global first mover. It allows for exportation. There should be a strong domestic market there. And we are also in 2 other marketplaces, Washington and California, and we'll talk a little bit later about why we think that's important. And we've got some significant value catalysts, primarily the license to cultivate expected in the next weeks to months. And strategically, we actually held back on our ACMPR licensing. We wanted to be licensed under the Cannabis Act, and there's one specific reason for that. And that is under the ACMPR, you cannot bring in existing genetics. And under the Cannabis Act, we have a huge genetic library that's been phenotyped over the last 10 years. We can bring all those genetics in right away. So while as a CEO, it's nice to have your license in your hand when you're out there trading, but quite frankly, from an operational perspective, we'll be in much better shape in Q2 with one of the best genetic libraries in Canada. So why certified organic? That's our key differentiator. The organic trend is pretty clear from a global perspective. 57% of Canadian consumers prefer organic products. We see similar trends to that in the European marketplace. If you're focused on health and wellness, and you're going to hear that come up over and over again in the cannabis sector, organic is going to be the clear choice. So that's going to be important for things like over-the-counter products, therapeutic wellness sectors. And of course, organic commands a price premium. This is an investment conference, and our initial math was about a 24% price premium. You can see right there. And then recently, last week, we got some new data. Whistler Medical, when Canada went legal, congratulations to us for doing that. Whistler Organic was in the top 2 selling SKUs in the BC cannabis store and was selling for $17.99 a gram. That's the #1 price point in the entire country. So to us, that is further proof of the cannabis consumer today demands a high quality product and they want an organic product. And that's not going to be the case for every single cannabis consumer, but for the ones who have been in this market and are consuming products on a regular basis, that's the type of product they're looking for. So a little history on me, a co-founder of Whistler, the first organic cannabis producer in Canada and in the world from a legal perspective. Our chief scientific officer actually wrote the certified organic standard for cannabis for FOPA. He's a professional agronomist. He built the cultivation system that we use over the last 10 years, running the largest organic tomato facility in North America, 40 acres of glass. He then brought that cultivation system into Whistler, where we continue to refine and perfect it, and then we've continued to optimize that for a greenhouse environment, and that's the system we'll be putting in place in Delta and Washington. Once we're through our ramp up, we're expecting somewhere between 50 and 75 cent a gram production for organic cannabis. And we're telling a story that's authentic. A lot of guys are going to say that they're responsible, they're sustainable, but we actually build our own soil from the ground up. So we source sand, we source Douglas fir bark, we put compost together, and we create our own soils. We have a fertilizer facility where we compost fish guts. It's the worst smelling place you've ever been in your entire life. But we use that salmon roe to create natural organic fertilizers. And that story of authenticity is going to sell through in the same way we see Whole Foods creating that visibility in that supply chain. The consumer today demands that sort of transparency. We collect all of our rainwater. We're 100% rainwater recycling. We have water conservation methods that I can get into that we apply in the greenhouse. Obviously, growing in a greenhouse is better from the point of view of energy efficiency, so we've got high efficiency LED lighting in there. And we'll be the first cannabis producer in Canada to have a full provincially recognized environmental farm plan. We spent the last year putting that into place, and we're expecting to see that in the next 2 to 3 months, that approval. This is our facility in British Columbia. This isn't an artist rendering. This is built. This is ready to go. Again, we're taking a different approach of actually building your facility first, putting your team together, raising what you need to execute on that plan, and then bringing your company to market. So this facility, we've been retrofitting since January of last year. It's 125,000 square feet. It includes 15,000 square feet of EGMP certified processing center. We've been working with our German partners who are here in the audience today to move through that process. That is a more intense process than I could have imagined. And the importance of doing that early, spending the last year to move through that process. So we're not talking about it. When we get licensed, we'll be being certified shortly thereafter. And that prepares us to enter the EU. And of course, Germany is one of the gateways and landmarks for that entry point. And the reason we chose Delta, British Columbia, is it is the best climate in Canada for greenhouse production, bar none. We don't have the same issues that some of our friends do in southern Ontario. We don't have extremely humid summers. We don't have minus 25-degree winters. It's mild in the summer. It's mild in the winter. There's a little tiny microclimate just south of Vancouver. We see almost 300 days of sun, believe it or not, in British Columbia in that small little microclimate. And we're 15 minutes away from the airport. So we can ship anywhere in the world. We have an international airport 15 minutes away. Hydroelectricity at around 6 cents a kilowatt hour. 45 minutes south of that, we have our other facility. It took 2.5 years to build. This is a brand new facility built from the ground up in Washington. Also enjoys the same microclimate in a little place called Ferndale, which I'm sure nobody in this room has ever heard of. They can do about 4,500 kilograms a year. This facility was designed by Thomas Larson. So this was the first cannabis production facility Thomas ever designed before designing Aurora Sky and designing the TGOD facility as well. As I said, 2.5 years to build this. These things do take time to build. Don't expect these to be built overnight. There will be hiccups. You have to prepare for that. You have to capitalize yourself in that expectation. And we've been in the market for over 1.5 years in Washington with a extraction facility in Ferndale under a company called Ann Crook, which I'll show you a little bit later. That's won the best oil under the Dope Cup in 2017 and 2018. So we're building that intellectual property in both extraction and in cultivation. We're not talking about it. We're in revenue. We're doing it right now. Quick overview. Why is this such an investable company right now? Because we're about to de-risk this with the reception of our license to cultivate and our license in Washington. So we're obviously going to trade at a discount until that time. And when we do come to be licensed, our capacity of 12,500 kilograms a year in Delta, immediately into production, bringing our entire genetic library into that facility when it's ready. We'll have the best genetic library, in my view, in Canada. They've come from a lot of places in the world, those genetics, and they're ready to go, and they'll be going right into that facility. It'll be Euro GMP certified, so boom, right into Europe, assuming those audits go well. And we'll be launching our BC Organic brand. I think that if Canada's going to claim one thing, it's clean, it's safe, organic. Those are the things that the consumer associates with Canada, and no better place in British Columbia to have those associations. In California, we're focused on building brands down there. We think that's where global brand trends are going to emerge from a consumer packaged good perspective. So we're in Los Angeles building our brands there. And then again in Washington, facility's already built, ready to go, extraction facility in place that's been in production for 2 years with an award-winning brand called Ann Crook. You've seen a bunch of these slides, so I'll be quick on this. Their market's going to be tremendous. This estimation is anywhere from $6 to $10 billion for the size of the domestic market in Canada. In the United States, of course, the sleeping giant to the south of us there. We've chosen to be on the West Coast exclusively at this stage. We may enter some Eastern marketplaces in the future, but for right now, this is an addressable market of over 50% of the legal U.S. cannabis market. And we think that, by focusing on the West Coast, we can actually run a company in a different way than just talk about running a company. These are operationally intense companies. You need to be able to move quickly from jurisdiction to oversee these. And we've got a supply agreement into the German medical market. We love Germany. We think this is really going to be the early adopting marketplace in the EU. And if the Germans say it's good, then it's good enough for the rest of the EU. That's truly our viewpoint. If we can get through the regulatory burden that is Germany, we don't see that being an issue for the rest of the globe. So we want to make those alignments early. There's a great price premium, of course, for us to enter into the German marketplace right now. We think that organic piece is truly going to be a differentiator in the German market. It's a majority of it covered under medical insurance. So again, our value catalyst from an investable standpoint here, we've moved through the retrofits, we've moved through a lot of the applications for the licensing phase. It's taken quite some time to get there, but we're expecting to receive that license to cultivate under the Cannabis Act, again, not under the ACMPR. That's a significant difference. Q4 of this year, with expected first sales in Canada, Q2 2018 for our products. We're already in revenue in Washington, and we're already in revenue in California. We have been for over a year. Quick overview of our brands. This is our mainstream lifestyle brand called 1964. That's the year that THC was discovered. We've been in market since beginning of this year, really focused on this becoming part of the normalization of cannabis. So we did some we tried to capture the sort of the creative spirit of the cannabis community. Did some collaborations with Tristan Eaton. He designed most of our packaging. He is, things like Hubolt, Johnny Walker, Starbucks, Versace. These are the types of companies that he's been partnering with. And we're really trying to bring, that creative spirit to life on the packaging. We sponsored the International Surf Fest alongside Toyota and Michelob, who were quite surprised to see us there. And our other brand is called Dr. Ann Crook. That's more of a craft cannabis-focused, Pacific Northwest feeling brand. Again, we won the best oil in Washington 2 years in a row, so we're quite proud of that. We're in over 70 retail stores in Washington State. So where do we sit compared to our peers? We got out and got trading last week. Just wanted to get out there and get moving. We didn't raise any money on the financing. We'd already raised what we needed to get to the next stage, but we wanted to be able to create that awareness that we think is so important and the ability to, do minor transactions. So we're looking to close the value gap right now. From a production standpoint, you can see us compared to our peers there. We're looking at being pretty similar to Organigram and TGOD next year. And what's truly different about us is we've already proven this. We've been doing this for literally decades. We did it with Whistler. We've done it under the other ACMPR facilities. We come from high-tech agriculture. We're not miners, we're not stock promoters. This has been our lives for quite a long time. So we're looking to close that value gap quite quickly. I think what's important to note up here too is this isn't just about cannabis, and how much kilos you can produce. This is about producing a premium product that is differentiated, that the consumer is willing to pay a significantly different margin for. And we see that in BC, we see that in California. California premium product goes for around $15 to $20 a gram, and mid-grade greenhouse goes for about $7. That's a big difference. Our capital structure is very, very clean and simple. All common shares in the company. Founders and management hold over 60% of those common shares. We're all under 36-month escrow as per the CSE, 180-day lockup from our listing date. We've raised over $42.5 million privately before listing to make sure that we are ready to go to build our facilities beforehand. You can see the history of our financings there. So how are we going to pull all this off? We put together what I think is one of the best management teams in the space right now. We've got over 130 years of fast-moving consumer packaged goods experience in the company. We combine that with finance, and we combine that with agriculture, and we combine that with cannabis. So I've already given my history, 20 years in the cannabis industry, co-founded Whistler, previously an economist by trade and philosopher. I actually studied Jürgen Habermas, for those of you in the audience who know that, communicative ethics. Margaret Brody's our CFO, 19 years in finance. She was senior on the Diageo account out of London. Peter Doig, a professional agronomist, 20 years in the agricultural business, wrote the Certified Organic Standard for cannabis in Canada. His wife is the chairman of the Agricultural Land Commission. You know, these are the best farmers in Canada. Tim Roberts comes to us from Red Bull. He was the president of Red Bull Brazil, president of Red Bull New Zealand, also held senior positions with P&G and Diageo. Somebody who knows how to, we have the foundation of premium organic production. These are the kind of people who know how to brand that, how to put that into the various CPG products, and to push that out across the globe. Melanie Ramsey comes to us, VP Marketing and Innovation. She was Executive Vice President with Diageo for Marketing and Innovation. And the reason we don't have last names here is some of the issues on the border crossing the US. So there's a reason for that. The Canadians will know all about that. Jason Pack, VP of Sales in California. He comes to us from Anheuser-Busch. He was the Senior Sales Director for Anheuser-Busch and spent 2 years with Heineken. And then our board of directors, I think, is fantastic. Brian Disher, former chairman of the PricewaterhouseCoopers board, 30-plus years in finance. You don't get a better accountant than that. David Donnan, 35 years in management, ag, and consumer packaged goods. He's a senior partner with A.T. Kearney Management Consulting. This man knows CPG. This man knows agricultural products. He consults to Whole Foods. He consults to Lawton's. He consults to Diageo. Eric Savix is the investment banking side, entrepreneur in his own right, 35 years in the investment business, director of Haywood Securities. And then John Pigott, he's the largest coffee roaster in Canada. He's the guy who doesn't care about EBITDA, he cares about free cash flow. He wants, you know, that's his focus. He knows what it was like to go through the manufacturing business in the hard days. I think that's a very, very well-rounded team. That's, you know, we have the capital market side covered, we understand CPG, we understand brands, and we understand operations. We know how to run profit and loss sheets. You know, Tim managed $500 million of P&L. This isn't a business plan on a piece of paper. This is a real business that's in operations today. That's Rubicon Organics. Take any questions.